I don't know how I can adapt wood carving to a digital medium. And this is the walk to the studio. Past the chooks. Hello.
So hi, Abdul-Rahman.
Hi Anna, how are you? Great to see you.
Yeah, you too. You too. So can you tell me a bit about what it's like for you at the moment out on the farm?
Ever since second daughter Althea was born in December last year, since then it's kind of been every month there's been something big. And then we're just kind of finding our feet again, and then we have this pandemic.
Yeah, it's a small thing, a global pandemic.
A good old global pandemic. But I mean, the reality is for us here where we live and on the farm, we're very well set up to kind of insulate ourselves from the world.
Could you just tell me a little bit about what it's like where you are right now? Like you're at a cattle property, Is that right?
Yeah, it's Anna's family farm. So we're not far from this Perth CBD.
Okay.
But it's a 3,000 acre cattle farm. I think it's probably the biggest one left in the metro area. And it's been in their families for, Althea and Aziz, our daughters are the 7th generation here.
You're also known for your pet goat, who has perhaps taken on a more famous role than you. I don't know. You've done a TED talk about Trevor the goat.
Trevor.
I think, the question on everyone's lips is, how is Trevor coping? Have you noticed anything different in his demeanour?
As far as Trevor's concerned, and the world has not changed a jot. His worldview isn't very expansive, shall we say?
Right.
I feed him and chat to him every now and then, and he hasn't really. I haven't really shown him to the world much recently because I've got babies now, and they're so much cuter than a grumpy old goat.
They are incredibly cute.
It's the A-team: Anna, Abdul-Rahman, Althea, Aziza.
It is the A-team. So yeah, your partner Anna, Louise Richardson, is an amazing artist as well. And so, do you two share the one studio, or you work very separately?
We built it's about 150 square meters, and we share it straight down the middle.
That's very fair. I like that. Yeah.
Well, it has to be very fair. I mean, it would seem. I will always want more space, but I mean, you have to be fair. Two people, 50-50. She's as much as artist as I am, and more. So we just split. Her side is a lot neater than my side. My side's a lot more.
I'm not really surprised, but if family and animals, family, memory, all these things kind of play into your work. But I'm wondering whether this time where you're kind of spending a bit more of an intensified time with your family now, being trapped at home in a sense, but also loving it. Like, I'm wondering if this is going to infiltrate into your work in the future or change things, or...
it has to. It has to. Funny thing is, so many of the works I do, which are based or tied to very specific memories, most often they're childhood memories. And so I'm sitting there thinking, is this going to take 30 or 40 years before it sort of ferments into an idea? Because most of them I'm looking back at things from the 80s,
Yeah.
And so I want what's happening now and raising my own kids and all of that to definitely come through in my work. But on the other side of it, I'm sitting there going, am I contributing to the work they're going to make?
Yeah, you definitely are. I'm interested in asking you is whether you think artists can play a role in this time of crisis, or they're better off just keeping on making their work. And what do you think about that question?
It's a hard one to think that artists will always play a role, but I don't know what solutions artists can offer when they are busily trying to find solutions for their own survival. But I guess it really puts your priorities in order and lets you know what's important, and you don't want to necessarily look at what the world or policy, and from a policy point of view, what they might think is important, but what you yourself find important. And I mean, I still want to just keep making. The ideas are still there, and maybe in some ways you just have to adapt and prioritize what's most important, even out of your own ideas, and focus on the things that you really want to make or things you really want to say. And I don't know how I can adapt wood carving to a digital medium. or go purely online. But I don't think I need to. I don't think artists need to change what they do or
No.
who they are.
Yeah, absolutely. But it is interesting. I've been talking to a few sculptors and object makers, and just this kind of, I think, maybe horror that they will be somehow forced to exist in the online world. And I guess it makes you think about what, you know, what is missing though from, you know, having galleries closed or not being able to go and see an artist's work in the flesh, what that actually means.
Well, I guess for me, there's a massive sense of anticipation about what people have been cooking up, you know, because all the artists I have spoken to, they're all still working. I mean, there's a bit of despondency and a bit of existential questioning going on, sure. But a lot of artists are still very, very busy, and, you know, they're still making work for that future that is going to arrive.
Yes.
You know, and the world will still need art, and there's just going to be, I'm hoping, this explosion of amazing work that's happening right now that we're all going to get to encounter at some point in the future.
Absolutely. And I think what we all have to work towards is making sure, like as a culture, as an industry, that there's support for that as well. Because I really do think that the hardest things is just so many people are kind of suffering financially with, you know, projects being cancelled, or, you know, you're not able to get what you need, you know, all those things it's very difficult.
No, we're not facing this on a salary or anything. Trevor's looking tastier and tastier.
Thank you very much for your time. It's really great to see your wonderful smiling face. It's been a really long time.
Thanks, Anna.
This is Aziz's corner. She's been working hard, getting a bit of expressive 2D.